When was the last time you felt appreciated in your group or in your community? That's a good question because sometimes when we are being part of a group, some people sometimes they feel, well, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know if I share ideas, what would it sound like? Some people say, well, uh, who am I to share information? Or people just feel shy. These are reasons why people, as part of a community, may not feel like participating. However, there are ways to feel more comfortable so that you can participate more in a group as part of your community, as part of your classroom, or as part of staff with a group. So this is the topic that we have today. So, welcome to my podcast. My name is Alain Faber, and I do this podcast because I like to share my experience as a teacher. I've been teaching for more than 25 years, and I get some topics from what I go through in the classroom as well as through life. I think it's a great way to share. If you have any questions or clarification questions or any comments, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below. So this podcast is always divided in three parts. First part is about the learner's perspective. The second part is about the teacher's perspective. And then we have the leader's perspective when I come up with good ideas. And on this, let's continue. So when we are part of a group, so let's look at the learner's perspective. So we started a new school year. We have 20, 30, 35 students all getting together in a classroom. And teachers are there doing the best they can to bring learning in the classroom. And often learning always works better when students feel that they can participate, they can collaborate and contribute to what they're learning. Because if they can do so, then they learn so much better and achievements and successes are easier to achieve. So let's see. So we started this year, and I have three new classrooms, three new classes, and building my community, my classroom communities, have been my main focus in the last few weeks. And I say that because when you have 25 students coming into a classroom, they all have different ideas, they all have different perspectives, different traditions, different views on how things are. However, once the students and the group realize that we are together with a focus, and in my classroom is about learning science, with the focus in mind, the question here is how to make students and learners comfortable enough so that they are happy to contribute and happy to be part of the learning. And that's always a skill that for the students is good to have, but also for teachers to help students achieve that. So in the last couple of weeks, I've done activities where when I asked them questions were given to them at the beginning of class. And I told them, okay, these are the few questions I'm going to have for you today. And I had cue cards, and I always have cue cards in the classroom. I buy them myself, and it's all good. And I give them cue cards, and I say, here are the questions. If you have a chance, write answers to the questions. And what happens is that if they take time to write the answers on the cue card and they think about it, then you have the advantage to have learners to know what the questions will be all about. And they will also have ideas on what to say when the questions are being asked. And that has helped quite a bit in the first week. So I had questions. So we were looking at a review from elementary school science. I had a few specific questions. And then since they knew, I went along and then I said, okay, who knows about this topic or who has any input on this perspective of science? And what happened is that you have a few hands raising and then giving answers. And then you have a few more. And every time a student mentions something, they say, okay, well, excellent comments, excellent views, excellent opinion. Thank you for sharing. So sometimes it gives a little ideas that, okay, there was a question. The students realize that they have something to say. They can say something, and then they feel they can contribute. And having the feeling of being able to contribute in a setting, I think it's a great way to make people feel as part of the community. So that's what I did the first week. Second week, what we did a hands-on activity. We did a water filter. The concept was not hard. However, it was to get students who may not know each other really and get them together and see if they can come up with the creation of a water filter. And you're going to say, why a water filter? It's fairly simple. And I knew it was simple. However, I was building on prior knowledge of the students. So what happened is that the students knew about the topic. They had done something similar a year or two prior to. So when they were able to put the information to create, brainstorm for the filter, and then bring resources from home, create a second filter, and then showing it off to each other. What happened is that they were in a situation where they knew what they were doing. They had a chance to share with others, and you had people that were excited because they all had a common goal, and it was to see how can we make a good water filter based on the materials at hand. And you're going to say, well, this is a bit simple. Well, building a community usually is, building a community can be simple as long as the students feel that they're cared for, the students feel that they are understood, and they feel that if they contribute, they will not be laughed at, but they will be encouraged and congratulated for giving the ideas. Today, I had a student where we were looking at a second lab that we did, which is, it's interesting actually. I get the students to go outside, choose a tree, and it was for the investigative, it was the scientific process, scientific investigation process. There you go. And the question was easy. Instead of going through the theory, I got them to go outside, pick a tree, trace a leaf of that tree. And the main question is, what is the total surface area of all the leaves on that tree? And the reason for that is we talked about photosynthesis. And a tree, in order to live, needs photosynthesis. So the more leaves they have, the more surface area they have, the better it is. So first of all, it gave us a chance during last week to go outside a few times, to observe nature, observe leaves, understand photosynthesis. They picked up a tree, they traced, and then we're going to continue with all the steps that goes into a lab report of a scientific investigation. It is simple, that is true. However, every time we've been working on the activity, students have something to say, they can contribute, and they feel that they are happy to do so. Today, I had an interesting question, and the person was saying, as they started, that, oh, that is a stupid question. And I said, no, it's not a stupid question. Just ask me and we'll see what it is. And she asked the question. And what happened is we were looking with the photosynthesis. And her question was about photosynthesis, but at 2 levels higher than what we will see in grade 9. So we had a chat, we discussed. I gave some answers, we had a good conversation. And I told her never to doubt her questions, because sometimes questions lead to new understanding. And she was happy, and that made a difference. Another example for that is that since students tend to know the topics we have in a class, last week I was asking for someone to read and give comment. And there was one student, she was able to read, she was all happy. And then I asked another question, and then she was the only one who raised her hand. She said the right answer, and she did something like this very quietly, very happy that she could contribute. And keeping in mind that the more students can contribute, the more they feel understood, the more they feel that they are appreciated, the more the community is building. Is it a perfect community? Not quite. Would it be? Most likely not a perfect community. However, we are growing together and we have great conversations. I think it's fun, lots of participation. I try to have everybody speak at least once in the week, and I try to look at volunteers as much as possible in the class, because I tell them. So sometimes it's always the same few people that raise their hand, and then when we go through them, I say, oh, I'm going to take people that haven't spoken yet, and then they understand, and then it gives opportunities for other students that sometimes may be more shy, to thrive. So this is what a learner can do to be able to be more confident in the classroom. And some of you will say, well, my teacher is not allowing us to feel comfortable. And it's possible. In that case, all you can do is say, okay, if you pay attention, if you are looking at what topics they are, you will notice that sometimes they go in cycles, and then it is your chance to be able to contribute at some point. And I do understand because it has happened for me as an English as a second language when I was in university, where it was just too hard for me to be able to pay attention and be able to contribute. However, uh, it happens, and then you can do smaller group or one-on-one discussion to make sure they can participate. So that's my idea with respect to the learners. With respect to the teacher's perspective, how can you feel that you can contribute more and then you can feel appreciated in either the school environment or in the classroom? Well, over the years, I've discovered a few things, and I've discovered that it's no longer in high school, this idea of lecturing is no longer very good. Uh, Giving lessons for a long time, it not doesn't necessarily work because with the technology right now, people zone out and they go on their phone, or if they have a laptop and they see they take notes, they do something completely different. However, I realized that as a teacher in a classroom, if you show the students that you appreciate them as humans, that usually is so amazing, because when students realize that you see them as humans, then we are all humans in the classroom. So this what happened today? I was we were looking for we're talking about hot air balloons. There you go. And we're looking with the height of a balloon, and there's a height of that a balloon can go up, or there's also the altitude it could go. And we had a discussion on the two words. And at the end of the conversation, I said, "Oh, thank you. I stand corrected with the proper use of the word." And they were all happy to know that we had a good discussion. I didn't take it personally, and that they contributed to make the class even better. So for that, you need to be open to the fact that students in your classrooms know more than you think, not necessarily about your topic, but about their lives and what they can do. And if they feel appreciated, then they will be feeling comfortable to show you that they appreciate you, and that's how we can build the community. And I think the same thing works with staff. If you're new in a staff in a group, then you say, well, I don't know what I could do, I don't know what I could share, how to share, and so on. Like learners, the best thing is you pay attention, you listen, and you notice that often things are circling around all the time. If you're teaching a course for the first time, it may be a bit trickier for you, and listening more than anything could be something to do. However, if you teach a course for the second, third, fourth time, then you realize that it's going in circle, and then you can have ideas on how to make it better. So give me a second. And I realized that because as I progressed through my career, I did less and less long lessons. There's much more participation from the classroom. And I just lost the idea. And it happens. I don't remember. Let's go to the next topic. So the next thing you can think about is, if you think as a teacher that you have the skills to take care of a group, you have to see that the same skills can work in your family. The same skills can work in your community outside of work, depending if it's a religious community, if it's a political affiliation, if it is, for example, you're part of a team. The whole idea here is the idea that the best way as a teacher when you're taking care of a group or that you're part of a group is what is the best way to appreciate others. And the next one is if you appreciate and others feel that you appreciate them and feel understood, that's usually the best thing you can do for everybody to be happy with what we're doing. So that's my plan on this one. And the third topic will be about leadership. And for leadership, it's then again, if you're leading a religious community or you're part of a team. So as leaders, what's interesting is that you have to see people in your team as humans. That is true that they're humans with skills, and you have them in your teams or part of your community because of their skills and what they can contribute. But then again, even though people have skills, if you see them as humans, above all, what happens is that you can see them with the fact that they can do amazing things. Sometimes the days may not be the most amazing. They may not be in a good mood. However, if you see them as humans, you realize that if you appreciate them, you don't need to understand everything going on in their lives, but as well gives you a chance to say, okay, I'm here for you. What can I do for you? And people will see you as a leader, as a human as well. And conversations can work much better. And I'm not saying that you can use this human factor to take advantage of others, but it's there so that you can together achieve even more. So these are my ideas today. I don't know if they, at all, I had some notes here and I went in different tangents. If you have any comments on the topics I've covered today or any clarification questions, put them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you an amazing week. It seems that my voice is having more and more difficulties at the beginning. It's going to warm up as the weeks and months are going. And I'm going to wish you an amazing day. On this, thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday at 7:30.